freelancer, and so today I'm talking about team and volume sports photography. I guess we'll leave it at that for now. And with me today is Haim Ariav. How did I do?
You did great. That's
I did
perfect.
great. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Let me figure out how I met you. So I want to say, are you in the team and volume photography Facebook group?
I am. I am. I'm in that group and a bunch of other sports photography groups. Correct.
Okay, so am I. So I think someone was probably kvetching about, like, I don't make any money doing this. And then all of a sudden someone tagged GF Crew
Yeah.
in a hyperlink. So I clicked on it and then joined immediately a couple weeks ago. Because if there's a way for me to, make money doing what I love, which is definitely sports photography, I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you for joining. And that's how a lot of our members come to us, is from other groups where people tag us, because I think they see us as not a group that just does critiques of action sports photography, but really a group that focuses on the business side of how do you make money with action sports photography. So
Well,
yeah, thanks for ending up in our little group on the inner wide web.
yes. Well, and it's funny too, what you just said, because I'm going to tell you a story in a minute, but I absolutely, the photography side, I have a Mark IV, I have a 70 to 200, 2.8. I do have the, extender thing, which I hate because I don't like losing stops, but, I feel like I have all the right toys to take beautiful shots. What I don't have, and I have the connections, like
Hmm.
my kids are in school and played sports from the time they were 3 on, sports, dance, whatever. What I don't have is the business end, is where I just fail.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll be honest. I mean, we'll talk about it, but Glossy Finish was founded 15 years ago, and my degree is in photography. As my mom and dad says, I have a license to take photos, which
Yes.
just basically means I have a degree in a Bachelor of Arts in photography. But I've always been fascinated by the business side of photography. And when I founded Glossy Finish, it was always about how do we take this little industry, this niche in the photography industry, and make something of it. And 15 years later, we're still standing, through a pandemic, and we're actually on target to have our best year ever.
Well, it's funny that you say that. So I started shooting professionally in 92. So this is like my 27th year, 28th year. I don't know. I'm not going to do math right now, but it's a long time. And it's funny that you mentioned the pandemic because, and I mentioned this on previous podcasts, but what kept me afloat through the pandemic was going back to 2006 was when I first moved back to Massachusetts. And my son was 4,
Hmm.
and probably, youth soccer, t-ball, like all that shit. I would
Yeah.
always be, the mom with the camera right on the side of the field, taking pictures. And I don't know half these kids, so they're just like sitting on my hard drive backed up to Crash Plan or whatever. And I share the pictures of my son that are adorable. And so what I did is I started making galleries. Hey
Hmm.
guys, who loves baseball photos? Guess what? I have some from 2006. But these kids now, my son just graduated high school, like literally like 2 weeks ago, just graduated high school. And so people are looking at these pictures of, like, these kids are now 18, and
Yeah.
in the picture they're 3 and 4. And so people started, I mean, I was selling them for like $10 a digital image or whatever. It
Yeah.
was just, just something cheap. I just needed like money to like pay my bills and, and feed my kids. But people just went crazy. They're like, I didn't even know these photos existed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I was just kind of like click, click, taking pictures of my son, but now all of a sudden you're seeing, it's a small town where I live, very, very small. So no one ever goes anywhere either. So the 3-year-olds in the picture are still local teenagers.
Yeah.
And so I really started going crazy, going into my archives, because my life is chaos. My house is chaos, but my hard drive is like, when I die, whoever takes this over, it's going to be easy. It's like literally, you know, chronologic, this, that, and the other thing.
That's
Anyway,
awesome. That's
yeah.
totally awesome.
But, all my pictures from, 2006, and then there's the subfolder, Spencer, which is me, and then the subfolders, basketball, whatever, soccer, this and that.
Yeah.
But, so sharing these pictures now, So I kind of joke around now, like on Facebook and whatever, that, my son just graduated. Like, this is the end of an era. Like, I'm going to be heartbroken to not photograph baseball anymore, but my
Yeah.
son's going off to college. And everyone, all my friends on Facebook are like, my local friends, well, you can still go to all the games and post pictures on Facebook for everyone just to right click and save for free. You can still do that
Sure,
because,
why not?
you just love photography so much and doing it for free and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I love it, but I don't love it working for free. Love it.
Yeah, hard stop on that. Don't be doing that anymore. That's
No.
and that's actually what GF Crew was all about, is how not to do that anymore. We actually call it the spray and pray, right? So spray and
I call it.
pray,
Yeah.
that's the term we coined years ago. Spray and pray means you go out and you photograph a game or a tournament, and you just photograph every player and you try to get something, and then you post them in a gallery and you pray that somebody comes and buys something, hence the term spray and pray. And I will tell you, that was an epic fail when I started the business. I started that way, and it was just an epic fail.
It is.
And then we shifted, and we said, you know what? Let's just find the families that really want photos, and have them put down some money or prepay us, and only focus on those kids. And we ended up making more money by photographing less players because they were paying us. They were paying us ahead of time to focus on their children, and that's
Yeah.
how Glossy Finish started. 15 years ago and then 12 years ago when we pivoted. And I had to pivot. I had to, because we were in the same boat. We were like, we were the dad. I was the dad on the sideline, with other photographers, and we were just shooting and putting it on Smug Mug at the time. And
Right.
it was going nowhere fast. It was literally hashtag epic fail. And I was like, wow, this kind of sucks. So we changed the business model, and we've been refining it for the last, 12 years. And now we're running on all cylinders. And Matt Weiner and I, my business partner, who owns half of Glossy Finish, him and I said, what we're doing so well here with Glossy, why don't we kind of pay it forward and build something where others can kind of have the same success that we're having. And that's how GF Crew was founded. It was really founded on the premise of, let's kind of pay it forward, build a community, use a process that we know works, and use an app that we built that helps photographers do it. So that's really how it all began.
So here's what, photographers understand. You and me understand. We can, fist bump in solidarity. But what people don't understand, so my son's team went to playoffs. Then they lost, but that's not, anyway.
Yeah.
So they got to playoffs, right? The playoff game was an hour and 15 minutes away. So I drove an hour and 15 minutes to the game.
Okay.
The game was a solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
Shot the whole entire game. Drove an hour and 15 minutes home. I don't usually overshoot, but I did put it on blast, just for like a couple of the pictures. Just when people pitch, I go, brrr, otherwise I don't. I'm a very purposeful shooter normally. Normally for a normal baseball game, I'll come home and I have less than 200 pictures on my, that I've taken.
Yeah.
But when I do blast to get the pictures, I do end up with like 500 pictures.
Yeah.
So I came home, and I was so excited to see them because it was the playoff game. Even though they lost, the light was perfect. Like just stupid photographer things, right? The lighting was great and my angle was really good. And so it took me like 3 or 4 hours to cull it down from 500 to 250.
Yeah.
And even 250 is a lot, but from 500 to 250 and, uploading them. I nail it in camera, so I don't really have to edit, but I do upload, batch, bump the contrast or whatever I do, resize, export them, load them. And for some reason, Facebook, I can't just load 200 pictures. I can only do like maybe 100 at a time.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So when all is said and done, I have like 6 hours into this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for one person, my friend Jen, who gave me a Venmo of a $10, here's a tip. I love you for doing this, but it's like, I made $10 for 6 hours worth of work and I pay taxes on that. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm literally like, I want to pull my hair out,
Yeah.
But then
We will
you
show
know,
you a bet. We will show you a much better
yes,
way of doing that. And you're actually you're a perfect GF crew member because of everything you said. You know the families. You're in a small town. You're a photographer that loves sports. All the things are lining up for you. The only thing that you have to slightly change, pivot, is your business model, which is
right,
don't do what you just did. Don't spend 6 hours hoping that somebody's going to Venmo you $10. Get prepaid by half a dozen families, 6 7 families get paid 50, 60, $70, whatever you want to charge, knowing that before you even click the camera for the first time, you already made $300 400 at that game. That's the beauty
yes,
of the process, and that's the beauty of the app, is it allows you to do that. And
okay,
people will prepay for good work. They will. I mean, youth sports photography, as you just saw from posting, your son's pictures from 2004. I mean, people love photography. They love those memories. That's a
yes,
given, right? It's a given. The one thing that, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I'll say this because I say it all the time to my team. People don't need what we all do for a living. They want it, but they don't need it. So don't ever forget that we are in a want industry, not a need industry. People need food, they need shelter, they need transportation.
right,
There's no secretary of entertainment, in the cabinet. It's
right,
they don't need what we do. So and as from this living through a pandemic like the rest of us, we were not first responders. We were all
right,
like, oh man, there's no events, meaning there's no photography, meaning there's,
right,
it dominoes down on us. So as long as we're all in their same understanding, because a lot of people, get caught up in like, well, I'm doing this because, people need these memories and stuff. It's like, no, they don't. They want them. They don't need them.
right.
And as long as we're all, aligned on that, then we focus on, okay, how do we make money by doing something that people want from us. That's the beauty of the process and the mentality that we bring into our, at Glossy Finish. It's all about, what I just said. I mean, we never say to somebody, oh, you need what we do. It's like, wouldn't you love to have this, on your wall? Wouldn't you love, for us to get some images like these and show them samples and get them excited about the want, not the need?
Right,
Because once you cross over that need, people will shut you down. Will
right.
absolutely shut you down. I know this firsthand because been there, done it.
Oh yeah, been there, done that for 15 years,
Exactly.
I just shot a not what's before Puppy League, T-ball.
Yeah,
So
T-ball.
T-ball. So I just shot a T-ball game, but one girl in particular, my friend's 4-year-old daughter. I said, "Listen, I don't have any current, my T-ball pictures were from 15 years ago when my son,
Yeah,
was 4, So I don't have any and I don't know what my 30D with my kit lens. I don't even know what I had 15 years ago. But now I got the big girl gear, and I need to have better advertising, you
yeah,
know, images of little kids.
yeah,
And so she was kind of like, has anyone been there taking pictures? Like, team and individual. Nope, because of COVID, there was no pictures.
yeah,
And I don't know why, because like, we don't need to even wear masks in Massachusetts anymore. But anyway, but they just never did pictures. And I'm like, they never, like, why? How? How did they never do pictures? Like, it
yeah,
just makes me like, and she's like, no, 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 Kirsten, you don't understand. It's a shit show.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
4-year-olds running, they don't know first base from third base. And you know what I mean? They don't even want to hit the ball. They just want to all run around the bases holding hands,
yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly.
And I said, all the more reason to take these pictures. All the
Yeah,
more reason. I took pictures of her little girl sitting on second base,
yeah,
drawing in the sand. Like the
yeah,
picture was so cute. But eventually she's gonna, let's just say she plays softball senior year and she's the starting pitcher, whatever. You're gonna post these pictures next to her
yeah,
18-year-old pictures and go, she was 4 when she started. Like she used to draw in the sand and blah blah blah. I don't care if it's a shit show. This, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to just scream, how is nobody I mean, you
yeah.
get it, you know what I
No,
mean?
no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's the best aid. I love T-ball. I actually did something very similar about a month or so ago. My daughter's fiance, his nephew was basically playing T-ball. He's 4 or 5, and I went out and I brought the big lens and I did it. And I did them a solid and photographed him. And I was out there wearing the photo vest, so I looked legit. I got on the field and everything, and I could have signed up 4 other families and taken money from them that night, had I, wanted to. But it's like I was there for them, and I wanted to do them a solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people, when you look the part and you have the connections, people will hire you. People will retain your services to do what we all love, which is action photography.
Yes.
Hands down. Listen. Matt and I built a business based around the success that we've had with youth sports photography, and it works, and it's evergreen. That's the beauty of it. It's evergreen. Just like your son just graduated high school, your friend's daughters, is going to be graduating high school, and there's more kids, coming up that are going to want what we do. Again, want what
Yes.
we do, not need what we do, but want what we do.
Right. Right. But even when I showed up at the T-ball game, there was three other, well, there was actually more like five, but two of those families stopped hiring me when someone cheaper came along, which is fine. But anyway, but three other kids other than Lexi, three other kids recognized me from every year, like several times a year I shoot them. You know, fall mini shoots, Santa minis,
Uh-huh.
whatever,
Uh-huh.
full family. I did this one woman maternity, newborn, and then every year ever since. And now her kids they must be 3 and 4
Yeah.
if they're on this team. And they recognize me. Of course, they're running over and hugging me and like posing and like literally posing, like, hey girl, hey, doing the thing. And like, Kirsten, take this picture.
Yeah.
I'm there to shoot someone else. But these three other kids recognize me and they're posing and they're like, look at my mitt is my hat. My glove is my hat. Okay, click,
Love
click,
it.
click, click. But I'm getting these amazing pictures. And like you said, just doing a solid,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here to get some advertising pictures. So now and I was just going to shoot Lexi, but now of course I can reach out to the other parents and be like,
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you these digital images, but I'm using these for advertising. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
That's exactly the way we suggest and we promote, we tell people to promote themselves. Is exactly what you just did. Do a solid for a family that give them, and then have them blast their social media, their Insta, gram accounts or Facebook, whatever, tag you and tell them, hey, you got to hire this photographer to come out here and do this because, this is the bomb. And that's how it starts. And by being in the group, you can see what's going on. All these guys are posting all these success stories, and
yeah,
it's all exactly what you just said. There's guys all around the country that are having a lot of success that never thought of doing it the GF crew way. And it's very simple, but it's process driven and it works. It just flat out works. And the only difference between what Glossy Finish does and what GF crew does is Glossy Finish does it on steroids. I mean, we photograph about 12,000 athletes a year,
holy shit.
action sessions at an average price of $165. So you can do the math and you can see that, we do volume in action, which a lot of companies, don't do it at the level that we do it, but it works. It absolutely works. And I'm a big believer in paying it forward, as is Matt. And like I said previously, that's why we started GF Crew. The community and the process, and all of this is because
Well, there was
we felt good
yeah,
about it.
yeah, there was a thread. It must have been in the GF Crew Facebook group, but there was a thread of like, oh my God, I'm on track this year to make 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I told you what I made last year, you'd probably spit out your drink. Like it's ridiculous. But I am
Yeah.
I'm a single mom and I want to spend time with my kids.
Sure.
Like I want to spend time with my kids when they were little, but like now on the flip side, I want to spend time with my kids when they're big.
Absolutely.
So I always have kind of, um, man, I work to make ends meet. And
Hmm.
then when my needs are met, whatever, then I want to be with my kids.
And there's
Um,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't make a lot of money. Okay.
Well, but here's the thing: you can though. You can make enough money by just having the chutzpah, to use another
Yes.
Yiddish term, to have the chutzpah to basically say, you know what, I'm going to go and photograph my kid's team, but it's okay if I charge the other families something
Yes.
reasonable to photograph their kids too. It's the
Yes.
analogy I always make is, let's assume that one of the kids on your son's team, his father is a plastic surgeon. Do you think he's going to hand out nose jobs and facelifts for free? No, he's not. He might give you a little discount, or he might give you a friends and family, break, but he's not going to go in there and do that. Why should you?
Right.
Photography is your business. Photography is, it's not a hobby. It's not a, it's a passion, but it's also a business. So why not charge? And that's how
Right.
I started. I did same thing. I shot my daughter softball, and parents were asking me like, "Hey, can you also get some of my daughter? Can you get some of mine?" I said, "Sure." But you know what? Let me do this. I'll charge you $50. I'll give you the digital. Oh, that's a great deal, Haim. That's a great deal. And that's how Glossy Finish was founded, because I saw that there was a want to for that.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's definitely it's I think too many photographers are afraid to charge what they believe they're worth, and a lot of people just overcharge too, and that's a whole other conversation. But a lot
Well,
of people just say,
that's a conversation that we're going to have. So we're going to
yeah,
okay, so we're going to step back.
okay,
So I downloaded your app.
yep,
I created an account.
awesome,
That's as far as I got, because then
okay,
I'm like literally like I can't even tell you. I also shoot
yep,
a dance school, like the formal pictures, like the costume pose, click
yep.
next, whatever. And I am like knee deep. When I say knee deep, I mean eyeballs deep in dance pictures. So I'm like, you know what, I can't. And the season was ending and my son was graduating, and so I downloaded the app and I made an account, and then I just like put a pin in it.
Yeah.
When I have 2 seconds to breathe, I'm going to delve. But while I have you, captive audience, I'm going to ask you a question. All right, so I made an account. What's the next step?
Well, the next step is just obviously to go out and get, figure out a couple games that you want to photograph. We have what we call a pre-registration link that's built into the app. So you're going to set up a game. Now, what GF Crew is about? It's about setting up like your own assignment. So a lot of people think it's like, oh, I'm going to join GF Crew, and they're going to either hire me at Glossy Finish as a photographer, or they're going to assign me to some games that they need photographed, and neither of those are true. I mean,
Right,
yes, we have hired some photographers for Glossy Finish that have come through GF Crew, but we're not a staffing agency. We're not a recruiting agency. We're simply a platform that helps photographers make money with action. So you've done everything right. The next step is figure out your friend's, her daughter's next T-ball game, and have her promote you, to all the other families. And then you would set up basically on your page, there's a custom page that's built for you that you can actually put all your events that you want to photograph, the events or the games. And the families would get that link. They go there, they sign up, they prepay you, and then you get a text alert saying somebody has hired you to photograph this game. You basically then go to that game, photograph as you do, with all the magic and beauty that I'm sure you bring to photography, and then you get
yes,
home, you edit those photos and upload them to the gallery that's already pre-existing for you, because when that customer made that registration, paid you for that registration, on the back end, the gallery and everything was already created, and it's just waiting for your photos. And then as soon as you upload your photos, you hit one button, that customer will get a text and an email alerting them that all the high res unwatermarked photos are there for them to enjoy and share. And that's it. And then you move on to your next customer. It's that simple.
so here's
It's
a question.
Yeah,
What do you do? So I know you've been doing this a million years, but this is my first,
yeah.
whatever, going, what, and I'm not a newbie. I've been doing this 27 years. My pictures are beautiful, but where do you recommend, like, what's kind of like the going rate, in a
Sure.
rural small town?
Absolutely. So, we started off a few GF Crew started off like 2.5 years ago. We were suggesting $45 to $55 for a session. Now, here's the caveat. Don't just go to that game and photograph one player, one T-ball player for $45, assuming that's the rate. You can probably charge more because your work, deserves more. But let's say you charge $45. You go out and you get 3 or 4 players. Now you haven't just made $45 for that same game. You're focused on, let's say, 4 players, and you've made close to $200 for that same game. That's the beauties. Now you're only focusing on 4 of those T-ball players, and don't worry about anybody else. Get excellent shots of just those 4 prepaid customers, and then you upload your images to only those 4 people. If they want to share them and everything with the others, that's fine. But just remember, you didn't shoot the other players. You only photographed the 4 that signed up with you.
Right.
That's the process, and that's how it works.
Do you stay the whole game?
It depends what you have going on. If you have enough shots in the first 2 innings, you're done. You don't have to be there the whole game. I mean, you honestly don't. You can go to the next field and start photographing, 4 or 5 new players that have paid you, whatever rate, $45 or whatever you want to charge them. So it's all about getting the shots. Now, the one conversation that comes up is, well, how much do I deliver? How many images do I deliver?
That was my next question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fair question. We always say try to deliver between 20 and 30 images minimum. Try to do
Yeah.
20, 30 minutes, and that's easy. You can get, the girl on second base, drawing in the sand. There's 3 or 4 photos. The glove on the head. There's 2 photos. Okay, now you're up to 6 photos already.
Oh
Her
yeah.
at bat. There are 7, 8, 9. I mean, getting 20 to 30 photos is
Easy.
pretty. It's pretty easy. It's pretty, and you don't have to burst the camera to get that. There's enough
No.
going on, especially the T-ball game, and make sure you get some with her with the coach, in the dugout, talking to her friends. It's
There
not
was
just about
popsicles. There was popsicles at the end, so we
there.
definitely got popsicle shots, which were adorable.
Exactly, exactly. And those are the shots that the parents love. It's not all about getting that first hit or, making the run to first base. It's about them enjoying the game and being part of a team. And those are the images that mean the most to families. And I know that from experience because we've designed and built tens of thousands of posters in the last 15 years that we print on site, and I know what sells. And it's not always the one ball on bat. It might be a beautiful portrait, in the dugout, or it might be, 2 players, hugging it out after, a win, or the coach, who's also the player's dad on third base. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in a game. And again, we're very focused on baseball, softball because of the summer, but this goes for all the sports. There's always stuff that's beyond the action on the field that parents would love to get. So getting those 20 or 30 shots, it's a no-brainer. That's
Oh,
easy.
it's easy. So here's my next question. When I'm feeling sassy,
Uh-huh.
which is all the time, which is all the time. My daughter's 17, and she also works for the newspaper, so
Okay.
she also does sports photography. So I'll say to her, "That's it. I'm bringing my camera, and I'm only taking pictures of your brother, not one other person." Not one other person. And then I get there. I've known all these boys. See, I don't like all the parents, but I love these boys, right? And I've known them
Yeah.
since we moved here when my son was in second grade. My daughter's in first grade. So I've known these boys since they were 4, and now they're like, they have beards, and you know what I mean? And they're 6 feet tall, and you know what I mean? So it's very sentimental to me. And I end up inevitably taking pictures of everyone because I just
Sure.
can't.
Sure.
I'm mad that the parents don't. And I'll just say, listen, I've been single 17 years, okay?
Mhm.
Probably because I'm sassy. And so they know I'm single. They know I'm self-employed. They know I don't make a lot of money. My kid's dad passed away a few years ago. You know what I mean? So, and I'm just like, listen, $10. If you want the full resolution, because of course I post low resolution. If you want the full resolution, $5 if you're having a hardship, but $10 if you can spare it. Don't give me any money.
Yeah.
So I get salty, whatever. But I love these boys. So of course, and they promote the crap out of me. They are
Sure.
very proud of my
Sure.
pictures. They're tagging me and putting out on Instagram and thanking me. And, it just makes my heart explode. Like I
Sure.
love,
Sure.
I love doing it. But here's my question. Let's just say the only person that hired me, and I'm using air quotes, would be
Yeah.
my son. Okay.
Okay.
But I have all these other pictures. I'm sick of putting them on Facebook, even low res. People don't care.
Yeah, they
People
don't
don't care they're low res. They're just
Don't
going to
care.
right click and save it and
Yeah.
not print it because it doesn't print. It's not going to print
And they don't care about
nicely.
printing. They just want to post.
And they don't care.
Yeah.
And they don't care about printing. They want to share. But what do I do? How can I? Do you have any advice on selling the pictures of not the 4 kids that hired me?
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, I do, but I'm being sarcastic. No, I'm not going to tell you because you're just back to spray and pray.
All right.
You just described spray and pray. You
I
went out
know.
there to photograph one customer, your son, and you photograph all the boys because you're in love with them, and that's great, and that's okay to do. Use them for your own promotion or something, but don't just give them away. But here's what you can do.
I don't give away the full res.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. I don't even care if you give away no res. It's just like
I know.
it doesn't matter. You're giving away something, and that's where you got to kind of hone that back. So what you need to do is all those kids probably have younger siblings or they have neighbors with younger kids. Those are the families that you need to now open the doors with and start charging those families. You may not be able to charge, your son's friends because again, you're sentimental and you're doing it and you want them to have this memory, and that's fine. Do it for your portfolio. but don't expect to make money with those photos when they've been given photos for the last, 14 years, 13 years, whatever it's been. You're not
Right.
going to make any money with that. If I was here to tell you, post them on SmugMug and then send a link, it's a death spiral. You're not going to go there. So use the leverage of your community, use the leverage of, your children's friends, those families, and get those, get those siblings and have those parents sign up for 45, $50 and sign those kids up. They know the quality of your work because they've been, using you for the last 14 years.
Right.
Now it's time to start charging them something and go. And if they're not going to pay for it, that's okay. You're one step closer to a family that will pay you for the
I
work.
know. And it's funny too, because the only reason I have pictures of all these kids is because I'm there photographing my son. The T-ball game today, I wouldn't have been there
Exactly.
otherwise. Like, I don't have a 4-year-old anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so, I don't know. And it's funny because the pandemic, you think like, oh my gosh, like is photography phased out? You know what I mean? At this point, whatever.
No, no.
But I've had more people buy prints from me in the last month than I have in the last 5 years.
And I will tell you something that during the pandemic, when states started opening up, we saw more and more usage of the GF Crew app, within the community, start taking place. We've had the best 3 to 4 months ever in GF Crew just because people are coming out of it. They're looking for those memories. They're looking to spend money. And now is a great time to do what we all do. And again, photography is a want. It's not a need. It's not going to be for everybody. We never get a team where all 12 baseball players sign up with us. We usually get a team where there's 7 or 8 or maybe 6 or 7 players
Right.
sign up, and that's okay because at Glossy Finish we charge $185 a session. So, again, we've been doing it for so long. We're at prestigious events. People pay a premium. So you can see that people will pay money for action photography, especially if you have vantage points on the field where parents aren't allowed and can't get access to. They even want your photos even more because of that. And
Well, it's
that's
funny.
what you got to think about.
I tell my daughter all the time because when she got the job for the newspaper, she was 14 when she got hired for the newspaper.
Wow.
She's 17 now, because they were like, "Do you want to give us all your pictures for free?" And she's like, but she was like, Mom, they want all my pictures to be in the newspaper for free.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have a $2,000 camera. It was
Yep.
my backup camera.
Yeah.
My 70 to 200 2.8 that I bought new, and it's a deadline, so she has to shoot, run home, call, blah blah blah, pick this. Now you are not doing that for free, and let me tell you why. You're going to end up crying and being burnt out, and
Yep.
because the deadline is so quick, you can't just leisurely do it whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And so she she said to the guy, she's like, my mom said I can't do it for free because there's too much involved, and I'm 14, and blah, blah, blah. And they said, we'll give you $35 an image. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
all of a sudden they found the budget for it, whatever.
Exactly.
What was my point with my daughter? I had
I was just blown away that she got hired at 14 for a newspaper. That's amazing.
I mean, it's our local. Well, there was
Yeah,
it
but
was two
still.
newspapers, but still, they share pictures. They go back and forth.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
I had a point. I'm going to go back and listen to this and go, oh, that was my point. Whatever.
Well, people will
Um,
always listen. People will always take free, and for some reason, anything that's digital, people think should be free. Music. Look what happened in the music industry.
I know.
I mean, if you think about Apple, people, Steve Jobs at the time, he said, "Let's build." The music store, and we'll just charge a buck a song, and we'll make it so easy that people will pay it. It'll be easier to buy it than it would be to steal it.
Right.
And at a certain point, with what we're doing, is we're just making it very easy for a customer to get high quality action photos from a professional photographer in a very easy, no friction way. And I think that has a lot to do with the success that we're having.
Yeah, I just remembered my point, because I'm like, what was my point? So my point was, I was telling my daughter, because she's like, how close can I get? Like, how close can I get? She's inching. She started off with wrestling. So she'd
Yeah.
inch, like, how close can I get? How close can I get? I said, Katie, hold your chest up high, hold your chin up, shoulders back. You have a 10-inch lens. No one is going to tell you to back off. They're going to assume you're with the paper or you're with the yearbook or you're with the something. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So ever since then, like when I showed up at the playoff game, granted the coach knows me and whatever, I was literally like practically, I almost died twice, to be honest with you. I was so close, you know what I mean? And no one said a word. No one said a word to me, you know?
If you look the part,
If you
act the
look the,
part, you will be part of the the game and the event. I mean, we all wear. You've seen it in the group. I promote everybody wearing a photo vest, just like they do in the NFL, just like they do at NCAA games. The photographers look like they belong.
I
I
just wrote,
advocate.
I was taking notes when you were talking and I literally wrote down, ask about photo vest.
Yeah,
Where,
photo
where do
vest.
you get it? Like, what, is it just a vest or does
Yeah,
it say
no,
photographer on it?
we have custom made vests that the Glossy Finish team has been using for 15 years. I mean, we've been wearing vests before we even pivoted the business, from a spray and pray to a prepay. We've been wearing vests because we always wanted to look like we belong, and the photo vest is part of the process. We fundamentally believe in that. People say, "Well, I'll just get a polo shirt with with my logo embroidered over the on the sleeve or over the heart or on the chest, wherever." And it's like, dude, you're going to look like all the other coaches on the field. It's like, stand out. And then some guys say, well, I don't want to stand out. It's like, are you kidding me? You want to stand out because you want people to notice you and then come and give you money to take photos. It's part of the marketing. It's part of the promotion. So, we offer a non-branded, vest that you can buy at gfcrew.com. We have a shop. You don't have to buy the one that we sell. You can make your own. I'll tell you where we make ours. It doesn't matter. Make something that you will stand out on the field. We chose a bright yellow color with blue print on it because you stand out. You absolutely
Right.
stand out on the field. At Glossy Finish, we have a bright red vest with white lettering on it to make us stand out. So part of being, part of belonging, and like your daughter was, everybody knows her, and you look the part. Wearing that vest, having a credential, people, and having the glass, people aren't going to question why you're there. Absolutely not.
And the other thing that's funny. So, I know I talk like a 14-year-old boy, but I'm 48, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that's hilarious is that when I shoot, I'm like half the time I'm on my stomach. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because
Yeah.
like the lower you get, the more epic like the football
Oh,
players look. You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
So maybe not in basketball, but like in some of
Yeah.
the other sports, like even in the baseball that I just finished the season a couple days ago, I would literally like I'm on my ass with my elbow brace, so my butt and my elbow are the tripod, and I'm bent way over and getting as low of an angle to get these amazing pictures, whatever. But it's like I tell my daughter, that's what sets me apart also,
Yeah.
is knowing tricks of the trade that and to be honest with you, I don't think anyone else in my town has a DSLR. I've never seen one. If
Yeah.
they do, they don't know how to turn it on. You know what I mean? And I
Exactly.
tell people all the time that are like, why don't you just donate all these pictures?
Yeah.
Well, I need to feed my children, first of all.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't have proprietary camera rights of my town. You
Yeah.
can buy a DSLR. Someone messaged me. Well, I'm just going to go to Walmart. Went to Walmart and bought a DSLR. It was like $300, whatever. So can you give me the link to the lens that you use? And I was like, sure, I can. And I
Yeah.
gave her the link. It was like $2,000. She almost shit in her pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why I don't donate all my pictures.
Yeah, exactly. And your rebuttal should be, well, does the local painter who paints houses, does he go around and paint houses for free, and and donates his time and his paint? It's like, of course not.
Right.
It's like, why should
And pay
I?
pay for the paint out of pocket.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I have insurance. Yeah.
you just don't, it's a silly comment that woman made. And, it's one that you can easily shut down
Oh
by
yeah.
just pivoting and don't go back to it, because if you start the process, the GF crew process, and you start getting prepaid, but then people see that you're not only photographing the players that, prepaid you, but you're also photographing everybody and you're putting that on a gallery. It's a very fast way for people to stop prepaying you, because they're going to say,
Yes.
"Oh, I'll just wait for her to post and see if something
Yes.
came up." So don't ever do that. I mean,
Well,
listen.
the fact that my son graduated, like, I'll never be at another game again.
Well, but that you shouldn't think that way. You should leverage those
I meant I
connections.
meant I meant for no reason.
Oh, yeah,
I meant,
exactly. For no
you know what I mean?
reason,
I
for
was
sure.
I was there for a reason. He played 3 sports. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
there for a reason. Now I'm not gonna be there because he's there. He'll be at UMass, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, congratulations, great school, and but use the connections that you already have.
Yes.
Leverage those families. Find the siblings. Find the friends, the neighbors who have the younger kids, and then go in, and that's where that's going to be your honey pod, your money, your money pot there. It's all about that. It's not about continuing to go to the high school and reminisce about, oh, my son played on this field for 4 years. It's about who's playing on that field now and how do I make money from those families.
Right.
And that's what we strive upon. And one of the things that I kind of get beat up a little bit about, even in the GF crew group, is I'm always talking about the business. Say, well, Haim, you don't donate anything. It's like, dude, I prepay it so much. I mean, we have, national clients like Babe Ruth League, Cal Ripken League, the Ripken Experience, American Youth Football. We do a lot of, marketing and promotional work for these groups at no cost. Why? Because they're a partner of ours. And I know that by doing something like that, I'm ensuring that we have a longer term relationship with each of them. So
Right.
you got to be strategic about it and know, like, when you need to butter it and when not to butter it. And it's again, it falls back to business, and a lot of photographers just don't understand business 101. And that's what we're looking to help them with is, listen, we're not an all-encompassing solution that's going to, like, run your office and track your calendar and all that. I mean, we do one thing really well. We show people how to make money with action photos, and that's what GF Crew does. And I think we do it better than anybody out there, because it's not about just all about the app. The app is the only way that we actually make money from a session. We charge a flat fee of $5 plus a 3% credit card commission. So, for example, if you charge $100 for a session, that's going to cost you $5 plus 3% to run the credit card. If you charge 200, it's $5 plus 3%. So we let you guys structure the pricing. We're not gonna dictate, like, oh, you need to charge this. I mean, we have one person who's charging, $45 and crushing it. We have other people that are charging $75 to $95 that are crushing it. So it's really whatever the market will bear in your community, and that's what you should be charging.
Right.
But again, the premise is get prepaid and only focus on those customers. Don't let your camera sway and, oh, let me get this great shot. And I hope to sell it afterwards. It's like,
Right.
focus on your players. You're not
Here,
there
here.
to get the, like your daughter for the newspaper. You're not there to get the game winning shot. If it happens
Right.
to be your customer, that's awesome. That's a double win. But if it's
Right.
not, you just want to show them the experience of playing at that game. And that's what parents expect.
Okay, so here's my question. You still go to the game happy with a smile even if one person hires you?
Yes, because I know there's going to be more people that hire me. And how does that work? You find that mom that hired you, that family that hired you, and you say, "Hey, listen, if you guys can help me get like 2 or 3 more families, I will throw in a poster for you. I'll make you a custom poster, or I'll send you some, a canvas of one of your favorite shots." And trust me, the best customer, the best salesperson is your best customer. Once a
Yes.
mom starts posting and loving on you, it's the best marketing you'll ever get. We always look for that champion mom, and you know who she is. I mean, she's the one who's the loudest, and she's the one who's out there, and usually it might be a coach's wife or an assistant coach's wife. She's the one who will love on you, and she will help you get more families signed up. Absolutely. But there have been times where we've shot a game with one player and we only made $185. There's other times where we've shot a game with 10 players and we'll make $1,850.
Right.
Do I smile bigger at that game? Absolutely. But I
Right.
know that usually you'll end up with 2 to 3 players per game, especially if you're priced right. It's a no-brainer. It's
Right.
absolutely a no-brainer for these families to get professional quality sports photography, for a fair price. You can do this.
So
You can do this. I mean, honestly,
I'm
I mean,
so doing it. I'm so
I,
excited.
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you because you're like in a perfect storm up there. Honestly, you got kids who played sports. You know the community. You're the only person with a DSLR. You know, you've been at this for 27 years. It's like you can easily clean up in that community. And if you actually post in the group and say, "Hey, I'm in this," that post will light up because there's so many other photographers that are in the same situation as you, other small
Yeah.
communities across the country that are totally raking it in, doing exactly what we're talking about, making money with action.
So I'm trying to think back of a post that I saw in your
Hmm.
group, and if I'm wrong, I'll delete this out. But is it? Did I read somewhere that you can also generate a QR code?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So yes, absolutely. So the QR code is awesome, and QR codes are easy. It's not science. It's not rocket science. I mean, you go to a QR generator. There's one like I think it's qrgenerator.com. You type in a URL, and it generates a QR code. You download it, and you can use that to print on anything you want. A QR code is simply just an input mechanism for to get to a URL or to get to get anywhere in the web. So you can easily generate a
So
QR
does
code.
the
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is my ignorance. So is the QR code, does it have to be unique per
No,
game, or
no,
is it
no.
just my
To,
website with
to
you?
your pre-registration page. So when you sign up for the app and you generate your first game, when you create your first event, you will have a unique link, and it'll be I think it's register.gfcrew.com slash and then 4 digits XXXX. It's 4 digits, and that's unique to you. That's like your thing. You create a QR code of that address, and that is the one that you will point everybody to. And then when a customer gets to that page, the list of all the events that you have upcoming will show up. They select the one that they want you to photograph, and then they pay, and you get the alert, and then you go out to the game and shoot. It's that simple.
So would it make sense? Because I was joking with my daughter, the last game that we did, I was joking because we just show up, I'm wearing
Sure.
cutoffs and a tank top or whatever. But I was joking with her, we should get press passes made,
Yeah. We
just funny.
Yeah, we actually offer on GF Crew. We actually have a media credential that we created. It requires a background check because we have a relationship. I know you probably read about this in the group, but we have a national relationship with Babe Ruth League. They have about 850,000 athletes who play either Babe Ruth softball or Cal Ripken baseball, and we have an exclusive relationship. Well, they will allow GF Crew members at their games as long as you have a GF Crew media credential, which requires a background check, a federal background check, which we offer. And you can purchase that on GF Crew.
Oh,
And then we send it to you. It's laminated. It comes with your picture on it. You have to submit a current picture. We generate a QR code for you. We put that on the media credential itself. So we give you all the tools to allow you to have success.
well,
That's
I
the
thought
beauty
I
of
had
it.
I thought I had an original idea. I guess not, of having a press pass with your QR code on it.
You
So
can do it
if
too. I mean, you can do it too. The one that our difference is we actually require the members who get a media credential to do two things. One, they have to be background checked. That's a given. And two, and they have to pass it, obviously. And
Yeah,
two, you have to have the app set up. I mean, we're not in the business to just generate, stuff to give to people that really aren't going to focus on, using the app. And people say, well, you know what? I could do this all myself. I get this one question all the time. I don't need to use the app. I can use a texting program. I can use Google Sheets. I can use Dropbox. I can use, Microsoft Word. I can use my calendar program. It's like, absolutely you can. And my comment is, you could also change the oil in your car in your driveway, or you can take it to Jiffy Lube and pay $35 and have it done in 15 minutes. What do you want
right.
to do? Do you want to be a DIY guy, or do you want to make it easy and just go and get it done? And a lot of people look at that and say, you know what, for $5 and making my life super easy,
Yeah.
that's the route I'm going to take.
Yep. I tell my kids all the time. Like I said, I don't make a lot of money, but if I figure out my dollar per hour
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
With everything. I have a YouTube channel where people send me I have 25,000 people in my Facebook group for Photoshop, crap, whatever.
Yeah.
editing stuff. And so if a new photographer is really struggling with like, how do I swap this face? I'm like, okay, I'll make you a tutorial if you let me post it on YouTube. Okay, great. And so I do. Where was I go? Oh my God. So I had a total train of thought. Anyway, so I do this kind of thing for photographers, and every once in a while, someone will send me a picture, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Send it to retouchup.com. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you why. Because the dollar per hour, I don't want to, I don't want to do it.
exactly.
I don't want to do it. I have 3 acres of land. I can mow it, but I cannot trim my 500-foot hemlock in the back,
Hmm.
bulldoze all the whatever. I just can't.
Yeah.
So I just paid someone. I paid my neighbor's son $500, and I gave him $100 tip, but $400 he charged me. I gave him 500, and he came in. I'm like, holy shit! My backyard looks 3 times bigger than it did.
Yeah.
You know, because I threw money at it because I knew it would have taken me. I mean, a month to get it what he did in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so I tell people all the time, oh, a head swap where you're literally the pictures are identical, but one eyes are closed, one eyes are open. That's a 1 second edit to me. And I'll
Yeah.
teach you how to do it. And it's easy. But it's something that's like, oh, I need you to clone the sides of an image, but there's hardwood floor on the ground and bricks on the back. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to want to just send that in because $5, it's someone else's problem,
Exactly. No,
you know?
that's a great example of hire a professional to do it. And while he's doing that, spending a day taking care of your 3 acres, you're out at a t-ball game making, $1,000 for, for an afternoon of shooting, 4 or 5 games. It's
Yeah.
like that's the beauty of it. It's like, why should you
Yeah.
be doing that? And because you're trying to save $500, it's like, money is time. And a lot of people don't understand that. They'll come back and, these guys say, oh, I shot an NFL game, and, they rave about it and they want the selfie on the field and everything. And then, these guys don't make any money. Yeah, they get a free lunch in the media room, but they don't make any money. If they sell something in 3 months, they'll get a check in 6 months. It's like, and here with youth sports and the process that GF Crew offers, it's like you're getting prepaid to do something that you already love. So, just follow the process. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I just can't emphasize enough about people looking at it and, they think it's like there's some ulterior motive here. And it's like, no, not really. I wish Matt and I were that smart, but we're just two guys who have had a lot of success with our own business. And now we're, it's kind of a passion project for us. And if we can make some money along the way, we'll do that. But it's all about, it's a volume game, as you can imagine. I mean, for us to make, money with this, with GF Crew and the app, we need to have thousands and thousands of photographers that are out there, charging, and we would take $5 a session. We're in the right trajectory, but we're not there yet.
Right.
So that's
My brain is like, wee, like
yeah.
what's next? I know there's 3-on-3 basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Basketball is big. Wrestling, as your daughter was shooting. I mean, there's a lot of, indoor sports. I mean, ice hockey in your area, you'll clean up with ice hockey. There's a saying in our industry, and hear me out on this one. The more they wear, the more they spend. So focus on sports, lacrosse, baseball, football, softball, ice hockey, field hockey. I mean, think about the sports and, those
Right.
sports and what it takes to gear up, one of those athletes.
Right.
Basketball, notoriously for us, it hasn't been a great sport because it's kind of known as a t-shirt league, as is soccer. You can make some money, but it's like, we haven't had a lot of success with those. But our trifecta is baseball, softball, football in that order. If you took away every other sport and you
Right.
gave me those tournaments every month, I would have a smile on my face, as you said earlier.
Right.
So
What
that's
other sports do you go to that are kind of not the norm?
Sure. So we've done we do an event once a year at Disney. It's a baton twirling. Believe it or not, it's called Twirl Mania. It's an international event. They have about 2,000 athletes from all over the world. They come and they compete in baton twirling at Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports. That's probably the one that's furthest out there. We've done we've done everything. I mean, like the ones I mentioned, lacrosse and field hockey, and all those. We've done horse shows, like barrel racing,
I was thinking
and
of horse shows.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's all those sports, we've done. I mean, if you go to glossyfinish.com, our website, and just look at our gallery, you'll see that we've done pretty much every sport imaginable. And some we've had success with, some we have not had success with. But the three sports, again, baseball, softball, football, that's the trifecta for us as a company. Now, if we were in the Northeast, it might be lacrosse, hockey, and volleyball, and that might be something that, but because we're in Florida and they can play those sports year round, we just shot a national football championship in the spring and did really well with that event. But the national one that we do, the bigger event, is in December. But this one, they said, you know what, because a lot of teams did get a chance to travel in December, let's put on a tournament for them in the spring. They brought us to do it, and we did okay with it. I mean, it was a good event. But yeah, I would say find the sports where they wear a lot of clothes or they need a lot of gear, and those are the ones whose parents and families know they're going to be spending money on everything, including photography.
Right.
So your neck of the woods, ice hockey would probably be a cleanup sport for you in the winter.
I know there's ice hockey, I think half an hour in each direction. I think there's something in Gardner, something in Greenfield, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Get to know
Um,
them, find some families who have kids who play, go and photograph them, and use the process there as well. And the other misnomer is you don't have to do what we do at tournaments. You can go to a Friday night T-ball game like you just attended, and you can make money at that game as opposed to waiting for the T-ball tournament, which is once a year. You don't have to go. That's the beauty of the relationship that we have with Babe Ruth League. Babe Ruth League plays over 600,000 games annually around the country. That's a lot of kids playing baseball and softball across the country every spring. Just think of all the opportunities that you have out there with just that one league with 850,000 kids playing 600,000 games over the
I've never
course of
heard of
three
that
months.
name before. I wonder where they play.
If you actually join GF Crew and you get a media credential, we give you access to what we call a Babe Ruth League locator. It's basically a map that you can type in your zip code, and it will show you what the local leagues are in your area, if they have any. Now, they don't have leagues in every city, pretty much every state, but not every city. So you
Right.
just have to find out. But again, if it's not Babe Ruth, it could be Pony League, or it could be Little League. There's a lot of other organizations that offer sports, and just get in with them. And the
Right.
best way to get in with them is not so much going to the tournament director or to the league director. It's through the families, because if the families want you, then the league will want you. That's the way to get in there.
Right.
That's the beauty of the process. We talk about all this, in GF Crew, the group, and also at gfcrew.com, where we have an extensive knowledge base. I mean, if you just want to spend an evening with a glass of wine and read about how we do it, we put up our entire SOP, our knowledge base that we use for glossy finish. We put that entire thing up there at absolutely no cost for anybody to go and take a look at it and read how we market, how we promote, how we shoot, how we tag. All that stuff is up there at no cost, because we want to help people start making money with action and using the app, and using our app.
Right.
So, we say, let's give everybody the knowledge, let's give everybody the tools. And then the hope is that we by paying it forward, we will get it back by people, using the app to create sessions.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not rocket science. I wish I was that smart, but Matt and
Right.
I are, we're just, I think we're just, we're two good guys that have had success, and now we're, like I said, paying it forward and helping others, like yourself and the many others. I mean, we have over 3,100 members in the group right now, and there's a lot that are active, and there's some that are just kind of like hiding in the shadows, coming out, every now and again, but there's no reason now with Friday Night Lights. And another place where you can make money is, think about the high school where your kids went. I mean,
Right.
Friday Night Lights, Friday football, it's coming up. You can still go back to your kids' alma mater and photograph high school football, but instead of doing a spray and pray, Charge the families. Here's another thing. Now I'm kind of like I'm on a
Right.
soapbox now. So one of the things that two things I can tell you how to promote. So senior players. What family is not going to want pictures of their senior athlete in high school that is playing probably their last year of organized sports before they go to
Right.
UMass or wherever they're going to college,
Right.
that doesn't want photos? Focus on those families first. Go to those moms. They always have the senior moms in the booster club. They form a pack because they know they do the scrapbooks and all that stuff. Those moms will want your service easily. Second thing, next year when you're doing senior portraits, ask those families in June, July, when you're doing the portraits for the rising seniors, hey, do you guys play a sport? Oh, as a matter of fact, my daughter plays softball. Oh, great. You know what, why don't you book an action session now with me, and I'll come out in the spring and I'll photograph her playing during her last year of playing softball at high school. Who's going to turn that down? And then you package your senior portraits along with the action package. That's the way you make the money, is you
Right.
focus on not just saying, well, I'm going to sell them another canvas print, or I'm going to sell them a throw blanket with their kid on it. It's like, give them something that they really want and they'll pay a premium for, which is action photography of their kid playing their last year of organized sports.
Right.
It's like my son. He played 4 years of baseball, but once he got out of high school and he went to Florida State, he hung up his mitt. He wasn't going to come back and play another at Florida State. Unfortunately, he just wasn't that good. I mean, he was a
Right. That's
decent
my
player, but he wasn't.
yeah. That's
He wasn't D1, and he knows
right.
that. But
Yeah.
so of course there's hundreds of thousands of senior athletes out there that you can target, especially in a small community.
Well, it's funny, and I say this all the time. So my son is off in August or whenever he's moving into his dorm,
Yeah.
and then my kids are only a year apart. So my daughter's going into her senior year,
Okay.
and then she's done, and I'm like, I'm kind of like looking around, like, what am I
Yeah.
what am I gonna do? I was joking, that movie with Melissa McCarthy when she signs up for college with her daughter, and
Yeah.
and my daughter's like, no, 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 I'm, and I've been single for 17 years, so it's not like I'm gonna go travel with my husband. It's just me
Yeah.
and my Great Dane and my 6 cats. But I'm like, when I have no kids, what am I? And I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
What am I? My days, like, what am I gonna do? So I'm looking for, I'm kind of like, hey, like, I'm kind of look after being self-employed for 27 years, I'm literally unemployable. Like, I could never go work for the man. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
totally get it.
there's no way. So I feel like I have to make, I don't know, what's next. But also with my age, on the last podcast I did was all about just saying no. And I was talking about, like, shooting newborns at 48 years old, like, just does not spark
Mhm.
joy for me
Exactly.
at all. Or like, just even chasing around a 2-year old, like, my back is starting to hurt. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
and there's certain things, but if I can just hunker down in the corner of the dugout, whatever, and just like take these
Mhm.
amazing, pictures, whatever, that is starting to really spark joy, because it's like, it doesn't hurt my body. It's
Mhm.
still really exciting to me to do. So I'm kind of like, I'm going to focus on, the last year with my daughter. And then when she's off, I'm excited to, like, gosh, I'm excited to make a go of this, like, for
Oh,
real.
absolutely. And either, and again, you can, when you're an empty nester and your daughter's off, at college, along with your son, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
perfect opportunity to continue using those connections. Like, again, Friday Night Lights, it's coming up here in the fall. Football's already starting down here, in Florida. The high school teams are already starting to get together and they're getting ready for the fall.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
you're going to start seeing, more and more talk in the GF Crew group about get ready for Friday Night Lights, get ready for Friday Night Lights, because we want people to take advantage of getting their marketing together, getting their social media presence together, starting to promote themselves, create events. Schedules are already out. Focus on those senior families, like I was talking about. Find those moms, and again, you just got to find one mom. She will be your best champion to get the other moms on board. And a lot of times they'll hire you for multiple games. I mean, imagine if there's 10 seniors on your this is just some quick math. Imagine there's 10 seniors on your high school team. and I don't know how many. Down here in Florida, we had like 35, 40 seniors because the rosters were so big. But let's say there's 10 seniors on your team, and five of them want you to photograph them for $50 a piece. Random numbers here. That's $250 you can make in a Friday night lights game, with families that you probably know because of your kids.
Right.
That easy. And then next week, when those families on Monday start sharing those photos, because you go home, you grab a glass of wine, you do a quick edit, you upload, they share. Monday, your phone starts ringing because more families want you to do next Friday. And then you got JV. How many parents would love to have pictures of their freshman player playing high school football for the first year ever?
First time. Right.
Exactly. So you got
And
kids
then
coming and
comparing.
going.
Right. My son, when he started playing football, was like 5'2",
Yeah,
and when he finished playing football, he was 6'1".
yeah,
So it's like comparing the pic. It's like, oh my god, I guess
exactly.
a mom.
Exactly, but that's exactly right. So and you can make money, both on the JV side and also the senior side, and that's just football. And then you got soccer, then you got lacrosse, and all these other sports at the high school where you already know. I'm sure you probably already know the coaches and the athletic director and the
Yes.
principal and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's like just attack, go out there and attack, and you could clean up. You could so clean up in that town, and like other photographers are already doing.
Right.
Again, it's like it's not me just sitting up here in a soapbox and telling you, I think you can do this. It's me, repeating what others have already said in the group that they're having success. I mean, somebody showed up on the radar in the group like a week ago, said, I just set up the app, I opened it up, and I already got like 24 signups in 3 days for a tournament or a game this weekend. It's like, and you are who? It's like, that's great. That's what we love.
Right.
They just figured it out, set it up, and now they're going out there and making money. And I think they're charging like $55 a session, and they already have like 20 sessions or 24 sessions. Quick math, that's over $1,000.
So do you have a cutoff with how many kids you'll take
That's
on?
up to you. That's up to you. Now,
Oh,
the more qualified you are, the more experienced you are, the more you can shoot, right? So we say, don't, there's a saying in business, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't be a hog.
ooh,
Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. We always say, don't be a hog. What does that mean? Don't go out to your first baseball, your first football game and try to shoot 15 players. You're going to fail. I mean, nobody can shoot, especially if they're linemen or they're, centers or kickers. You're not going to be able to get that. Focus on 3 to 4, maybe 5, and the next week focus on 5 more. And then the next week, focus on 5 more. Now you've gotten 15 players that you can, you can start making money on. That's
right.
that's the beauty of it. So I would say, now it's sports specific. Baseball you can shoot more, softball you can shoot more, football you shoot less, soccer you shoot less because the field's so big and not everybody gets a lot of touches on the ball. So,
Right.
but as you get more comfortable with the different
Right.
sports that you're shooting, you can start, adding more and more. Most of the guys, and I see the sessions because we have all the data behind the scenes. Right now, the average session is like 3.5 kids. So what does that mean? It means 4 kids per game, basically, and the average cost is about $57. So if you look at those numbers, it's like, okay, I can charge $60 and photograph 4 kids. I just made $240 less the GF crew commission of $5 per kid. That's $20 and the credit card fees. All right, I just made like just over $200 for that game. It's like that. It's that simple. There's actually a
Yeah.
calculator. I don't know if you saw this, but if you go to the gfcrew.com homepage, we actually have a calculator on the page that you can actually, a sliding calculator. How many kids do I want to shoot? How much do I want to charge per kid? And it tells you how much you're going to net after all the fees and everything are taken out. And it's pretty slick because now you can you can go in and say, I want to shoot 7 kids at $60. Okay, that's going to net me X number of dollars. I want to shoot 5 kids at $50. That's going to net me X number of dollars.
Should
Um,
people shoot the same price for every single thing, or does it depend on the
that's actually that's a great question. We've had a lot of discussion in the group about that. Some people don't. They say most people do. We do. We don't, we're not sports specific. We charge, our price and that's what it is across the board. Some guys will say, if I'm doing an indoor sport, I'm going to, it's going to charge less because there's not as much wear and tear in the weather and, all this stuff. If I'm doing an outdoor sport, I may, jack it up $10 a session. I'm a big advocate for keeping it simple. So if you're charging $65 a session, charge it across the board for all your sports. Don't go out there and try to make $300 with one family, because they're not going to pay that. But if you get five families at $60, now you've made your $300. And it's not
Right.
that difficult to shoot five kids, 4 to 5 kids, as I mentioned, depending upon the sport. So, two things: always try to get more than one player, and use the mom who the first sign up, she will help you get more. Offer her something, incentive, and not a discount. Offer her like a print, or put together a collage or something that you can crank out in Photoshop with your eyes closed. Give her
Right.
that. She'll love that more than a discount. And she'll do all the legwork for you and get the other family signed up. And then just make sure that you deliver a good product, those 20 30 images, so that they'll use you again and promote you.
Right.
that's
The
that's the
coach,
beauty.
yeah, the football coach has two little girls. Oh, they're not little. They're like, let's just say they're like 10 and 12 maybe.
Hmm.
Because he's the coach, they know every single player by the number.
Absolutely.
And so they used to stand next to me just for fun, because I knew them. They used to dance, and I took their dancing pictures when they were little. And I would be like, 88, who's 88? 88, 88.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Aiden Spigny. Okay, click, click, click,
Yeah.
because I wanted to target, maybe the newspaper wanted some pictures of,
Sure.
Jake Denny, senior year. So I'll be like, Taylor, who's 30? Who's 30? Oh, it's so and so. Okay, click, click, click. But it was so nice. I was so spoiled by being able to have someone, know all the players and the numbers and the whole
Yeah,
nine
but
yards. But
here's the beauty of the process, the GF crew process. So you're only going to be photographing, let's say, those 4 or 5 players. And the other thing that we do with outdoor sports is we actually put an orange rubber band in the GF crew case. It's a yellow rubber band, a thick yellow rubber band that goes around their cleat.
I
So
saw that.
it helps you find your customers quicker on the field. You still have their jersey number, you still have their name, but the yellow band, or the orange band, allows you to basically have another way to easily identify your customers. Because remember, you're only photographing your customers. You're not out there to photograph the other, 30 or 40 players on both teams. You're
Right.
just going out there to photograph your players. And that mindset has to, you got to wrap your head around that mindset, and you got to understand that it's not the way I was doing it, but it's the way I should be doing it. And once people get that, I got an over the transom direct message today, or Facebook message this afternoon, from one of our photographers who said, Haim, thank you. You changed my life. Period. And that was it. And
Yeah.
then he basically added some color commentary on that. But it was like, wow. I mean, that gave me goosebumps. It's like, here's a grown man who felt that he needed to thank me for helping him change, not his life. I mean, he said life, but it's really his business life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we showed him how to make money, and he's just very, very thankful. And he's one of our power users out there that just really excelled. He knows how to sell. He knows the community. He's in a small town like you in the South, and he just basically just leverages his relationships, and he's crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it.
That's gonna be me.
That's you. Absolutely, it's going to be you. Absolutely, and there's no reason it shouldn't be.
No.
It's you and everybody else out there who has the passion to do this. And we're just showing you a way to make money, so that you can obviously put your kids through school, put some money away, and have that guy mow your yard for $400 plus $100 tip.
Right.
You know.
I know. I feel like I'm gonna stand up and kick a door down. So I'm gonna. So I told myself, okay, we're gonna keep it short and sweet, 30 minutes. It's been an hour
Wow.
and
Oh, wow.
12. So my bad. But I'm gonna leave just parting wisdom of something that, after 27 years of shooting sports, this is something I literally just learned. And you're gonna laugh, because I'm gonna just sound like such a moron, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So when I take pictures, the old, you know, the shutter speed should be twice the focal length of the
Yeah.
lens, or
Yeah.
whatever that thing is. So I'd be taking pictures. I like shooting wide open, I'll be honest with you. So I'm always
Oh, yeah.
usually at 2.8, maybe 3.2, but usually 2.8. It's just, 2.8. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right, well, my 200 millimeter lens, that's 400. So I'll have my shutter speed at like 500, 1/500th of a second, 2.8 meter to zero with my ISO, and bang, bang, bang. So I was in the team and volume group, and someone was like, "Oh, I always keep my shutter speed over 2,000." And I was like, "Well, that's why would Why would you do that? Because you really only need 500th of a second, really. Oh, no, not with sports. And so I'm thinking to myself, huh, I'm going to try that. So the next baseball game I went to, I jacked up my shutter speed, which means you have to raise your ISO to like,
Hmm.
400 or whatever it was. And I'm like, click, click. I'm like, oh, what, what a game changer. My pictures are tack friggin' sharp.
Yeah.
They were lovely before. They were lovely, depending on the sport. They were lovely.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm just like, my images are tack sharp having a faster shutter speed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I find that as a misnomer. I mean, the faster shutter speed you have, if you can, in daylight, there's no reason, you can't be shooting at 2000 and above. And, a lot of times, our guys will get what we call the frozen ball photo, where that's when you're standing behind the catcher and the pitcher's throwing on a ball and it freezes the ball, halfway to the,
Yeah,
to the batter. It's called the frozen ball, or bat on ball is when you get the ball coming off the bat and you
yeah,
see the compression. You're not gonna get that at a 500th of a second. You got to be shooting at a 2000th or 4000th of a second, and there's
yeah,
no reason you can't be doing that in a day game. It's easy to do, and your ISO doesn't have to be above 800 ISO. It can be 400 or 640 or whatever it is.
yeah.
You don't have to be that. So absolutely, and the newer cameras. Because the resolution is so good and the ISO is so good, you can jack that ISO up, to get those shutter speeds, even in at night games. So it's all there. But yeah, definitely keep that shutter high, keep that aperture open, and just make sure you're positioned at the right spot. And that just comes with shooting more and more of the same sport over and over again. That'll teach you kind of where to be and where to go, because you're not going to shoot a t-ball game from the same positions you're going to shoot a high school baseball game. One, they're not going to allow you on the field, and two, it bases are 90 feet as opposed to 30
I know.
feet.
Right.
So there's different stuff that you're going to have to keep in mind when you're shooting it. But I will say, the besides Friday Night Lights and focusing on seniors, the money is in the 8 to 14-year-olds. That is a sweet spot for us. That is something that we found. If you show me, a 10U baseball team, I can show you a money pot.
Ah.
Yeah, absolutely. But that being said, Friday Night Lights football is coming up, man. There's a lot of people out there that
Well,
are going to be wanting your services.
our yeah, our school really like locked down hard. We did have a football season this year, but it was in the spring.
Hmm.
We had nothing in the fall. It was fully remote in the fall. Um, so we had nothing. And then there was a football season, but there was like 4 games. It was like literally,
Wow.
it was like 2 weeks long. I mean, it was like nothing. It was like
Yeah.
very, whatever, really quick and whatever. So I feel like, knock on wood, that this coming school year is going to be back to normal, back to,
It will
you
be,
know,
and it's going to
more.
be, and people are going to want even more. They're
And
going
I
to want
think
your services.
people are going to want it even more. That was my point.
Yeah.
Is after going for so long with kind of out, you know, I think people really are just going to like, oh, $50, $60, whatever, take my money.
Yeah. I'll
Make it
tell you.
happen.
I'll give you a quick stat that'll blow your mind. So we do the Ripken experience in Cal Ripken. Him and his
Yeah.
family and investors. They have baseball facilities. They have one in Aberdeen, which is the original, and then they have one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and they have one in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We've been doing all the work for Cal Ripken and his family for the last 8 years in Myrtle and in Pigeon Forge, and we pre-sign up. So in January, we start promoting that we're going to be doing the photography at these week-long tournaments in Pigeon and in Myrtle. We had 3,000 families pay us a session fee of $165 because we gave them a $20 discount. $165 before we started the first game 3 weeks ago. 3,000
Holy.
families had signed up with us because they wanted to reserve that spot. If that's any indication of what's to come, for you and others and us, hopefully in the winter months, that's huge. That's
Right.
absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So, listen, all the success, you got this. The best thing I can tell you is you got this. You got the gear, you got the experience. You just need to use the process and the discipline, and just follow along, with GF Crew, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
And I bet you if we talk in 6 months, you're going to say, Haim, thank you for helping change my ways.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I
Working
truly am. I truly
working
am.
smarter, not harder. I know, because I mean,
Absolutely.
towards the end, I was getting burnt out. I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Listen, shooting. Like you said, those 6 hours of editing, driving, and everything, and then somebody tipping you $10. Listen, it's a nice gesture, but it's a little bit insulting. You know what I mean?
right?
It's like, your time you could have at least made $300 or $400 had you changed your process prior to that game. And I listen. There's still many days ahead. You're still young. You're definitely young at heart, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. And you just got to just change your attitude about how to go about it, and the success will follow. I promise you that. I absolutely promise you that.
Okay, it's happening.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay,
this is awesome. This has been fun.
this has been so much fun. I'm really excited to post this and share this
Absolutely.
and get people on board, because yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, so many people, I just see so many people just spinning their wheels, and I think this is the answer to a lot of prayers.
And it's just so simple. It's really simple. And the community is strong. We have a lot of people that are in the group that are very vocal, that will help. We kind of keep a tight grip on who we let into the group, and how it's moderated and everything. And there's honestly, there's very little hate in this group at all. People want to help because they see themselves having success, and they want to
Yes.
help other people have success. Which is, I'm sure your Photoshop group is the same way with your 25,000 members, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We're obviously have our 3,100, but we're focused on one little thing: how to make money with action photography, how to make money. And I always say it out there. I always say, like, what's the business story? What's the business story? People put up, hey, I love your CC on this, your constructive criticism. It's like, that's not the right group. We're not here for that. Yeah, well, if you tell us that you made money or how you didn't make money and you ask us, we'll tell you what we think. But really, we're focused on the business side of sports photography. And that's the biggest difference with GF Crew is we're not here just for constructive criticism. We're here to basically help people make money, which is, at the end of the day, there's always going to be hobbyists, and there's always going to be the dads with the cameras, the moms with the cameras who give it away. You know what? They're welcome to follow along and see how they can make money. But our group is really focused on the true hobbyist who wants to make money, and the professional who wants to make more money, doing action.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a story, and I am sticking with
Absolutely.
it.
I believe every word. So maybe I'll have you back on in 6 months or so, and
Would love it.
tell the story about all the money I'm rolling in.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear it. I'm sure it'll be faster than 6 months, because if you start with Friday Night Lights, if you start with high school football, and again, that's low hanging fruit. In my opinion, that's low hanging fruit for you, because the community, the school, the families.
Yeah.
Focus on the seniors, the kids who are, rising seniors. Go to those moms, tell them what you're doing, explain how it works. You get the app set up and the events driven and the events set up, and you'll watch people. Your phone will start dinging, because every time you get a sign up, a registration, we send you an automatic text that says you're making money, and it tells you where your assignment is, who the customer is, what the number is, and all that stuff. And
Right.
it's pretty cool. People love that. They get all those texts.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, thank you very much for
You're
spending the
welcome.
hour and a half with me. And I will put all your,
No
show
worries.
notes or whatever, all the links to everything for people to download, and what Facebook, you know, thing to join. And yeah, we'll recruit all the people.
I love it. Well, thank you for having me. I really do.
Yes,
And if you need any help or anything, feel free to holler, post in the group, and you'll have an army behind you. We got your back.
fantastic. I will see you there then.
All right. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.